What's up, guys? We are fucking live. We are fucking live. We are coming at you, not safe for work. I am Christian. I am here with Randy. We are just super pumped. We got this to work, we think. And so we're hopeful we can bring you some good DFS advice this week. Randy, how are you this evening?
I'm doing good, man. Just hoping all this goes well. Started off well last time. Hopefully we can keep that going.
Yes, I agree. So last week was quite the whirlwind. We started off well. We finished by me staying up until 2 a.m. editing a video to get the content out to you guys. So we had to scrap our Q&A segment, which sucked. We were excited for that. So if you are joining us, make sure you drop your questions about DFS, or you can ask us your start sit questions for your season long. Just drop those in the comments. And let's get right into it, because I don't want this to peter out before we get done. So Thursday Night Football. Randy, you had mentioned that you were playing some Draftkings on Thursday, right? And
yes.
And so tell me how you felt after your Thursday matchup.
I mean, I felt pretty good. Mixon was I don't want to say a dud, but he didn't really do much. But I did play both Browns running backs, and Odell, and Baker. I really just went heavy on the Browns. More because I was like, if it's going to be a good game, at least I want to watch it to be a good game and win some money. Yeah. So, Uzama I played as well.
Zama.
I only played a $5 contest, and I won I think 50. I can't remember, honestly.
Nice. Hey, that's a good payout.
Because I was more focused on the Thrive, where I was getting screwed by 2 yards on 3 different things and pissing me off.
Yeah, I had that happen too. I wrote an article that said I am the king of Thrive Fantasy. I am undefeated, and then I proceeded to lose the night of. And I actually think I forgot. I think I lost Monday night too, and so I lied in my article, but there's no record of that. We're going to delete this video after now, because
I think I played 7 contests on Thrive, including NBA and NFL, and I've lost my money twice. There was $2 contests both times, so I'm still ahead pretty much. I know you're ahead from last Sunday, so
yeah,
we're gonna keep it going this week. We're gonna do better.
Yeah,
we're both gonna. I mean, we both won money last Sunday, but I'm gonna get closer to what you won.
Yeah, I hope I come in first, you come in second. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Or you first, me second. Helpful. That's fine.
You greedy bitch. What the hell?
All right. Speaking of Thrive Fantasy, normally we tried to have a ticker, but Thrive Fantasy is our pick for a player prop app. Partly because we have a promo code. We're giving our promo code out. You get an additional $20 onto your first deposit of $20 or more. And so we're going to go through some of the prop picks, just a few this week, of basically smashes, and we'll tell you why they're smashes. Randy, why don't you go ahead with that first one on the dock, and tell me why it's a smash, please.
Oh, well, the first one's Chris Godwin under 4.5 receptions, and as we've found out, correctly predicted by Christian at 3 p.m. today, he's ruled out for the week because of his concussion symptoms and in the protocol still. So, just like last week with Kenny Golladay being out, they couldn't take him off of the prop betting slate. So you get a free square again this week. So that's not even a question if that's going to happen or not. Just hit the under, take your 1 out of 10, and be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking 1 out of 10, for those of you that haven't played Thrive yet, so they give you 20 options, and you pick your top 10. You don't have to pick every player or pick the line on every player. So if you get 1 out of 10, I mean, you're already hitting pretty well. I hit 9 out of my 10 when I won first, so I will say you have to be pretty damn accurate to win first place. But I mean, Randy, I think you missed 4, right? Something like that.
I believe I was 7 out of 10 last Sunday.
Okay, so 3.
I believe
3, and you doubled your money or got your money back?
I think I got 10.
Oh.
I either got 8 or 10 last week.
Okay.
And I believe I was like 20th place. I was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I should have actually looked. But
Yeah, that's okay.
I just saw the money and left with it.
Yeah. Take the money and run. All right. So yeah, Chris Godwin under 4.5 receptions. That's a guaranteed. That's a lock. The second one I want to talk about is Patrick Mahomes under 303.5 passing yards. And so Randy questioned me on this earlier. And
well,
go ahead.
Let's just be real. Anytime you're betting against the Chiefs, betting against the best quarterback in the league right now,
Yes.
betting against this offense in a game that you know they're going to win is scary. But you raised good points.
Yes. So the points I raised that Randy deemed good just now are, so Patrick Mahomes last week, he was held under 250 yards, I believe. And that was simply because they didn't need to throw the ball. And so that's probably going to happen again. The Chargers offense is fucking god-awful. And so you couple that with the fact that I think Patrick Mahomes' career high against the Los Angeles Chargers across all 3 years that he's played is 251 passing yards. So if you bet the under, I mean, the odds are with you. He's had 4 career games against them, and each of them he's been held under 300, let alone those 3.5 that would give you some pause, But I'm smashing that in every single contest I play. I know that it's Patrick Mahomes, and he could have 5 balls, 1 to McCole Hardman, 1 to Tyreek, and a couple to Sammy Watkins or some stupid shit, and go over 303. But I have a feeling that the Chargers are going to come to play like they always do against Patrick Mahomes, so I'm smashing this. And then, go ahead.
My view of it is, while I think Mahomes is still going to do what Mahomes does and kind of control the game, obviously this Chargers defense is still good, even with Derwin James gone. The biggest thing is they're going to be up quick. I mean, whether the Chargers come to play or not, they're not going to be scoring 38 points with the Chiefs. So I think Mahomes gets them to 21-28 within the first half, and then it's just going to be a whole lot of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams and little dump-offs here and there to keep the drives going.
Yeah. And then I just put the graphic up, but you see the third one is Aaron Jones over half a touchdown. Randy, I don't know if you actually agreed with this one or not. So I went back and I looked at Aaron Jones over the course of his last few games, and I think 4 out of his last 5 he's had at least a touchdown. He's the most efficient goal line back in the league, as we saw last year with his 18 touchdowns. I could easily see him not getting one this week, but if I'm taking a bet, I'll bet on the goal line back getting into the end zone. What do you think, Randy?
I'm with you there. It's a game that we expect them to win, obviously. Again, kind of it's going to be more of a shootout, but with Galladay out, it does kind of hurt that potential a little bit. But they should be up. They didn't really have a problem running the ball last week, even though they did dominate through the air. I think it's going to happen again this week. I know Okudah got in, I think, 2 practices this week, so he might be going up. But the other 2 starting corners are not. That's what it looks like, at least. So while there may be somewhat of a little bit of discrepancy of how much we can expect Rodgers to throw the ball, I think they will be up quick.
Yes. Sorry, I was taking a nice drink of my rum and juice. All right, so let's get into the stuff that you came here for, and that's Draftkings. Obviously, we talked about it last week. We were warned not to lock anything in. So we're going to start with some smashes and some values, and then we're going to put together a lineup, but we haven't put together this lineup yet, and so I'm sure Randy and I are going to go back and forth, and so that'll make sure that we don't lock anything in and get sued by DraftKings. So we've got 4 smashes for you this week. Let's start with Kyler Murray. He's kind of chalk this week. He is the highest rostered player in DraftKings according to RotoWire, but he's valued at 6,100. He goes off against a good defense in the 49ers in week 1, and then they drop his price. Randy, why do you think his price dropped, number one? And number two, why are you playing Kyler everywhere this week?
I frankly have no idea why his price dropped. That's the biggest question of all here. I'm playing him because he did play so well against a good defense last week. He did get cheaper somehow. And while he is going to be somewhat of a chalk this week, so are all the other big dogs at quarterback this week, as in Aaron Rodgers, Stafford to an extent. I would assume Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, just because of those two really good scoring matchups there. Kyler's kind of off of that. He is a little bit harder to stack with. I know we had some discussions about that, but I don't necessarily need to stack my quarterback with someone. It is good, but if I can kind of take points everywhere, I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on from Kyler, I decided to roll with Zeke as my smash running back this week. Listen, there's some lines on Thrive for that as well. I think the over was 90-something yards. Or maybe it was 86.5. But Zeke is going against the Falcons defense, who they actually were pretty decent against the run last week. Chris Carson was bottled up. But the thing is that that's what the game script was. I wouldn't say that the game script was dictated to be that way, but they just decided that Russ was going to cook. So that's why the Falcons were able to kind of hone in on the run. This week's going to be a different story. I think with the Cowboys coming off a loss, I don't think they're going to be as able to just kind of chuck the ball as much as I want them to for my boy Michael Gallup. I think Zeke's gonna eat. They're gonna feed him, and he's gonna eat this week.
Oh, of course Zeke's gonna eat. Yeah, again, it's another one of somewhat chalky plays. But there's a few of those at running back this week. It's gonna be hard pressed to get anyone at the top, besides maybe McCaffrey, or that's not like about 8% or up. So, I mean, I'm fine with taking Zeke if you can afford him. We like to go cheap some places, so we tend to be able to afford at least one top-end running back, maybe two. So, yeah, he's going to dominate. I mean, there's a reason where we would rather go Zeke, who our consensus was RB1. Literally all four of us picked him RB1 this week. Yes. That's why we're going to go with Zeke in a lineup, most likely, other than having Dak. And we might be able to go back with the receiver later and not have Dak and just kind of take Kyler and not have to. I mean, there's a good chance that Hopkins continues that kind of workload, but most likely Fitzgerald, Dan Arnold, Edmonds,
Kirk,
and Kirk, and Kenyon Drake, sorry, was the one I was trying to think of, are all going to work in more and try and relieve that target share slightly.
Yeah, I think it was just getting their star going quickly, and like even in the season, I think that's what we saw last week, and I think the other guys will get more involved as the season goes along. Let's move on to the wide receiver that you see on your screen. That is Mike Evans. That one seems pretty self-explanatory. I know there has been some Scotty Miller talk, but Randy, tell me why Mike Evans is in almost all of your lineups.
Well, because when I give advice, I like to stick with it and actually use it myself. Mike Evans was my start of the week at wide receiver, mainly because I believe he's our consensus wide receiver like 16 this week. I have him at 3. I don't know how low some of you have him, though he's that damn low. But with Godwin out, even with him in, Evans was going to get a much higher target share this week. Bruce Arians kind of went on multiple tirades about how vital it would be to get Evans involved, at least 10 targets in this offense for it to really function. And he viewed that as a huge reason why they struggled last week. And obviously Godwin would have somewhat taken away from that, but he would have kind of gotten rid of some of the chalkiness of Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I think that actually is going to go to Scotty Miller because he's so cheap. It's kind of like when the star running back goes down, you take the guy that only is going to get 10 points, but he's cheap. I think Miller could actually score more than that. He's a good play as well, but I want the guy that could go for 40 in a GPP lineup and not the guy that could go for 15, 20.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last guy you see on your screen is Mark Andrews. Listen, Mark Andrews put himself in the Kelsey Kittle tier for me last week. I know it was against the Browns. I know that defense sucks. We saw the Bengals eat against that Browns secondary. But it doesn't matter. We have a season and a quarter's worth of Mark Andrews being that dude. And he is priced at, what's it say, 6,300? Yeah, he's in a lot of my lineups this week. There is a value play that I like a little bit more, but I mean, if I'm going with a high-end tight end, I'm going to roll with the guy that, I mean, I know that the Texans just kind of held Travis Kelce to a modest line last week, but that was, again, designed. The design of the Chiefs was we're going to let our rookie get his feet wet and get his feet moving, and so they didn't need to use Kelce. The Ravens, while they could be in the same boat, I think that's going to hurt the Willie Sneads of the world more, and Mark Andrews has touchdown upside literally every time he steps on the field. So that's a guy that I would smash if I'm going high-end tight end, which I don't tend to do in DraftKings, but that is the guy that I would choose.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think Kelce is going to be high up there. I think they both may be a little bit chalky. I would rather take Hollywood Brown in that matchup because he's a little bit cheaper, and he has just as much breakout, high touchdown potential, big game as Andrews.
Yeah, fair enough. I do like a running back from that game a little bit more. One start of the week that I mentioned on the last episode of the podcast. Speaking of which, if you guys didn't know, we have a podcast too with Sean there. Has Sean joined in? Has Sean joined the chat yet?
I know he is not.
That's a definite no. So go check that out. We're on all your favorite platforms. We actually might be on Amazon Music soon. Got a DM from a kid in our listener league, so that's exciting. Hopefully we can bring some more listeners in that way. But let's move into our values. So these are guys that if we are, looking for some guaranteed production from a lower priced standpoint, these are guys that we're targeting, and I'm going to toss Randy's graphic up first and let him talk about the guys that he chose.
Oh, okay. We'll put the graphic up so I can double check.
The graphic is up, sir. I know I mess up graphics sometimes, but I think this one's right.
Well, I see it now. Okay.
That's good.
All right.
It's good news.
So we each, if I can speak right now, tried to do one position each. That way we can give you two at each, kind of for the week. He won a guy that I liked, so I won a guy in a different kind of plus matchup that I really think can kind of dominate this week. And coming from behind a lot, that's kind of the biggest thing for Gardner Minshew at quarterback. He is one of the cheaper starting quarterbacks on the slate this week, so that's kind of one of the biggest things for me. I really trust him this week. They are most likely, yet again, going to be down early, like they were the Colts, and he's going to be trying to use his magic, those luscious locks to get back into the game, maybe the mustache to win it. We'll see. But they will be throwing, so I think if you want to do a lineup with like maybe Henry, or maybe you want the lower priced options of Corey Davis and Johnny Smith on that side, and you want to come back with a Gardner Minshew and DJ Chark, or Gardner and Laviska Shenault to kind of come back at that stack, I think that's a good play this week. Running back, I know Jonathan Taylor is going to be one of the most high-owned running backs on the slate. He was my start of the week. I think he could be a running back 1 this week. But I think Nyheim Hines could be a running back 2 this week, especially with Jack Doyle going down and it looking like Michael Pittman is not going to play. That really hinders down the amount of targets out available on the field to Hilton, Paris Campbell, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. I know they have some depth receivers, but usually when players go down, especially at the tight end position, those targets go to the running back. And a guy that was already the receiving running back for this team, and a guy that also got done on the ground last week, I think that's a great play at a cheaper option for Hines. Deontay Johnson was actually the target leader for the Steelers last week. I think he's going to kill it yet again this week against a good matchup, against a bad secondary right now. Juju's going to get the focus. Johnson's going to go off. I think it's going to be one of his enormous breakout games, in my opinion. I also took Christian's dude, Chris Herndon, here. I was trying to decide between him and Logan Thomas. I went the cheaper option here. Herndon is pretty much the only guy left on this damn offense, isn't he?
He sure is.
There was three main guys going into the season for the Jets offense that we thought Darnold would target heavy, and that was Bell, Crowder, and Herndon. Two of those are down. Herndon's left. I obviously understand they have Rashad Perryman, and they have a couple other guys there, but they really tried not to give him any help, Darnold any help in the receiving game. And because of that, his, let's say, second favorite target, Herndon, might get a lot of attention from the defense, but he's going to get a lot of targets. He got 7 last week, came off as tight end 16 because he only caught 3 of them for 37 yards, I believe, or 36. I think he gets at least 7 targets, most likely 10 plus. So with those kind of numbers, he should be a tight end 1.
Yeah, and so regarding Herndon, actually let's jump back to Gardner Minshew. So someone actually asked me on Twitter, as you can see, at FF Baldman on your screen. Send me your start questions or send them to the Cut FFB. But someone asked me Gardner Minshew or Jimmy Garoppolo, and so I'll toss my values up, and I chose Jimmy Garoppolo. And I saw a lot of people were picking Gardner, and I understand it. I just think that Jimmy's gonna, in getting Ayuk on the field at least, I think that he's gonna be a little bit better than Gardner this week. Randy, what do you want to say?
I was going to say the reason. Well, first off, Gardner's a good quarterback and at a good price. He's higher priced than Jimmy G. So there's a reason why they like him. He's a very likable guy and character. But recency bias is going to play a huge part in that. Jimmy G had a bad week last week, and Gardner had a good week. Yeah. So if you're getting guys at the same price, doesn't matter the matchup, people are going to pick the guy that had a good week last week.
Yeah, and then before I move into the rest of mine, just regarding Chris Herndon, I am a little scared of the matchup against Fred Warner. That's the only thing that gives me pause on Chris Herndon, because I think Fred Warner is by far the superior player. But like you said, Herndon's going to get a lot of targets, and it might not matter if the defense is just paying attention to him. Moving into my guys, so obviously I talked about him, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going against that Jets defense that's actually fairly good against the run, and that is something that impacted my decision here. I think Jimmy's going to have to throw a little bit, which is weird to say for this Super Bowl team going against one of the worst teams in the NFL, if not the worst team in the NFL. But I think having Ayuk back is going to open things up. I know he doesn't have George Kittle, so you might be scared off of Jimmy G. I don't think it obviously matters. That's bringing the offense down a little bit. But you tossed Jordan Reed in there, who looked good last week. I think that Jimmy's going to at least have some touchdown upside against this Jets defense that some of these other quarterbacks might not. Moving into Ronald Jones, I had to talk about Ronald Jones because he's going against the Carolina defense, which their best player is a rookie in Jeremy Chin, which I loved. Who do you think is?
Who's their cornerback that's actually out this week? He's the best player. I can't remember his name at the top of my head. Jeremy Chin's amazing. I love him. I'm glad we have him. I'm glad I have him in a IDP dynasty. But yeah, their defense isn't good. They're pretty much ranked. They were ranked really low last year. They're ranked pretty much dead last right now, and it's going to keep going.
And listen, Ronald Jones is a value at 5,200, but that's assuming that the Bucs actually get it going. And and they score some points in the beginning of the game, and so they're going to turn the ball over to Ronald Jones. What I do get a little bit nervous about, and I put Ronald Jones on my values, so I'm starting him in places, I'm putting him in my lineups. What I get nervous about is Bruce Arians being a fuck and giving the ball to Leonard Fournette, or just giving handoffs to LaShawn McCoy for some fucking reason, and just shitting all over this pick, which happened right before the season. That's my A1, that's my dude, and we know what happened there. So I will say you have some rightful pause when you click on Ronald Jones's name. Moving into my wide receiver, Paris Campbell. I mean, this guy, we talked about it on the show Thursday. Paris Campbell might be the wide receiver 1 for the Colts. I know T.Y. Hilton and him had the same amount of targets, but the targets that Paris Campbell got were the Keenan Allen targets. If you watch the types of routes he was running, I'll take the Keenan Allen of this offense over the Mike Williams any day. Not saying that T.Y. Hilton is necessarily the Mike Williams, but you get the gist. Paris Campbell is 4,500 this week. That's got to be the lowest wide receiver 1 on his team, at least. So I'm taking Paris in almost every single one of my lineups this week. And then my boy, I had to put a couple A1s on here, I guess. Jonnu Smith. It's Jonnu season. I've been talking about that all week. He's my start of the week at tight end. He's valued at 4,200, which comes in at like tight end 14 or 16 or something like that on the week, which is absurd. He, especially now with A.J. Brown out, Corey Davis being the only other good pass-catching option, other than Derrick Henry, of course.
Just stop. You didn't need to lie to the people.
You're right. So Jonnu Smith is going to get caked with targets. I'd say probably at least 10 this week, and I'll take the guy that has a career catch percentage of like 70%. Even though he's coming off of a bad game, I want Jonnu at 4,200 every day of the week.
I mean, what people don't talk enough about the Titans-Broncos game is Justin Simmons was pretty much just manned up the whole time with Jonnu, and he did a great job because he's a really good safety. He doesn't really have to worry about this week, so especially against the Jaguars defense, where they did pick off Rivers, old noodle arm, 2 times. I don't see that kind of thing happening this week.
Phillip Rivers throws like a fucking child.
That's good. He learns from his 20 kids.
That's true. I saw a tweet. I don't remember who it was. Maybe Zach Fried on Twitter. That sounds right. Just wondering if there's a family photo of Phillip Rivers with his 9 children and wife lined up in 12 personnel, and I thought that was just a really good tweet.
Most likely.
I like that.
I saw that.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to the good stuff. We've always put together a lineup for you on our DFS episodes. We're going to do it.
In theory.
In theory. Yeah, put together a lineup that you may use if you want. Go ahead.
Do you want to like roll through like all the guys we like for the week quick?
Sure.
Before we actually build the lineup?
Sure thing. Randy, do you want to start that? Go through this other smash options, and I'll go through the values.
I'll go through the other smash options. Derrick Henry, we slightly talked about. Obviously, they're going to try and grind this game with Henry. I think he's going to be amazing this week. I touched on Stafford really quick. The Packers looked amazing on offense last week. While I don't think Rodgers has the potential to keep that going all season, I think he has that potential this week, which means Stafford's going to have to throw 60 times to try and keep him in the game. Dalvin Cook and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are good pivots from the top guys and guys that are going to get a ton of running work, and some passing work. Devontae Adams and Hopkins and Julio all look like absolute stud wide receivers yet again, and they all look like target hogs, even though Julio did get every other receiver in the offense the same amount of catches. It doesn't matter because Julio is still the one in that offense. Shut up, Christian.
Fuck you.
I talked about Kelsey being the top of the line. He's really good as well.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, Mahomes, if we don't think he's getting 300 yards, he's not taking all those deep shots, which means he's dumping it to Clyde and Kelsey.
Yeah, for sure. Julio is the 1B. That's not true at all. In terms of fantasy, he might be. But anyway, let's move into some of the value picks that we had listed this week. DeAndre Swift at 4,900. That seems pretty good. He led the Lions in snaps last week, despite I think he was outproduced by Adrian Peterson still. That old fuck.
He wouldn't have bet if he would have caught a ball. But
yeah, poor guy. Michael Gallup at 5,600. Don't be scared of the modest line last week, especially now that Blake Jarwin's out.
And Amari's not looking good to play. I don't think he's officially ruled out.
He was still questionable last I knew, but if he's out, I mean Gallup's awesome.
Even if
go ahead.
If you don't think Amari's full go, every other time last year when Amari played but wasn't full go, Gallup kind of went off while Amari kind of every 4 snaps he was in for 4 straight snaps. He would take away the cornerback 1 coverage.
Yeah.
And Gallup would go off, and then he would come off because he needed a rest because he couldn't feel his leg or something.
Yeah, that dude's always got leg problems. But then, kind of tying in with that, CD Lamb at 4,700. I mean, come on, 4,700 for potentially. Yeah. I mean, if Cooper is limited, that's the wide receiver 2 on the team. And then just gonna run through some guys: Marvin Jones, Keenan Allen. I don't love. Randy put him there. I'm sorry. Scotty Miller, Laviska Shenault, Corey Davis at 4,000. I mean, Jesus, fuck. James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas, and then a few defenses that we like: Rams at 28, Bucks at 29, Cards at 3. I really like the Cards this week. I'm playing them everywhere in my redraft leagues. And then T.Y. Hilton at 5,700. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, you're good. We'll talk about those defenses when we get to the lineup.
Yeah, for sure. And then I just want to run through a couple of my favorite lineups this week. Randy, you can do the same. I just am the one that put it in the doc. I'll give you my one lineup that I just absolutely love. Jimmy Garoppolo, Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon. I don't love that, but I don't hate it either. Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, CeeDee Lamb, Jonnu Smith, J.K. Dobbins, and I punted on defense and went with the Chargers.
One that I'm using with a ticket this week is Gardner, Zeke, Nyheim Hines, Devontae Adams, and Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, Jonnu Smith, Paris Campbell, and the Cards defense. And I think that's going to be a smash one. I'm happy with it.
That's definitely a good one. All right, let's get into this lineup that we're definitely not locking in. Please don't sue us, DraftKings. Also, sponsor the podcast. We tried to get them to sponsor us. We'll get there eventually. So let's do our traditional start with running back. We putting Zeke in, just calling it.
Well, it's either we put Zeke in or we go one of the two or both of the cheaper of Dalvin Cook and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay.
Either those, I want one of those 3 at least.
Okay. I do want to give Derrick Henry a shout, but it should be noted too. Like I love Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry every week, but in games that AJ Brown did not play well, in games that I believe he had less than 50 yards, Derrick Henry was actually more ineffective. So I have a little bit of pause this week with A.J. Brown out. Just kind of knowing that defenses might be able to zone in on him a little bit more. And then another shout, Miles Sanders at 6, but that's a little lower, and we don't have to really do that yet.
No, and I love him. It's just the question of how involved he's going to be. I think he's full go, but that might be kind of a little bit of a cash game that I do instead of a GPP.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we have Zeke in all of our lineups. Can we start with Zeke? Are you cool with that?
Yeah, we can start with Zeke.
And we can come around and switch it if we want. Do we want to get the second running back not locked in?
We can.
All right. So a guy that I haven't played anywhere is actually Jonathan Taylor, your start of the week. Because I am a little bit afraid of the chalk in going with Zeke and then Jonathan Taylor, because Zeke's in all of my lineups. So, I mean, who do you think's more chalky, Jonathan Taylor or Nyheim Hines?
Taylor.
Okay. Do you still want to put him in this lineup?
I'd be fine going Taylor, but I would want to pivot from Zeke slightly down.
Okay.
Because that reduces some chalk while we gain some more.
Okay. Let's go.
Which I'm fine with.
Let's go Taylor, Clyde.
Okay, we're just gonna go the rookie stack. I like it.
They don't even have pictures yet.
Shout out Zach from A to Z.
Yeah, his listener league team looks a lot like this. All right, so CD Lamb next, and then Jerry Jeudy. I'm just kidding.
No.
All right, so let's actually move to a receiver. We never do this, but I'm feeling good this week. So
yeah,
I'm feeling good. What receiver would you pick of the top tier?
Listen, you know who it is. You know I want Devontae.
Okay.
I want Devontae and Mike Evans. Those are the two big dogs I want. Obviously, the Atlanta receivers are going to be great. I think Thielen has a good job to be great. Arizona. Hopkins can be really good. Hill, I'm a little bit less on because it's not going to be a big shootout, but he still could have a really good game. So
okay, that's fine. We can put both in the lineup, but then I want to ask who you want our stack to be. Because we could go Aaron Rodgers this week, but he's a little higher priced. He's the third highest priced quarterback.
Why don't we go to our cheap positions quick? That'll give us some clarity.
Sounds good.
Before we pick a third receiver or a quarterback.
All right. So with defense, I'd love to go mid to low. Like I mentioned, the Cardinals are my favorite.
So Cardinals, obviously, while the football team, I almost said the wrong word there, was one of the higher pace of play teams last week. It took Haskins a long time to kind of get ready and get into that offense, and it turned out great. That's my only worry about that. But yet again, this was a really good defense last week. I think they can get to the quarterback. I'm fine with it. And then the next two on this list, really, the Buccaneers, one of the best run defenses going up against the Bucs, who have, pretty sure last year McCaffrey topped like 58 rushing yards against them all year.
Yeah.
And they have a decent secondary and one of the best young safeties in the game and a really good linebacking core. So I think that is a good shot against a team that did a lot of damage against a, let's be honest, bad Raiders defense.
Yeah.
So maybe the Bucs can be a little bit better. And then the Rams, I really, really love this week. A little bit cheaper than the Cards. Biggest thing, they have a great corner, obviously. They have some good young safeties. Biggest thing, though, Eagles' offensive line, still banged up. One of the best pass rushes from Aaron Donald. I think they get over 9 QB hurries this week, which should equal at least a couple sacks.
Yeah. Ultimately, your case for the Bucs I really liked, and I did see that Lane Johnson is looking to be back today, tomorrow, whenever this gets posted, or sent out to everyone. Today, probably. You'll probably watch it Sunday. Unless you're with us, then tomorrow. But I don't hate the Rams, I guess, because their interior offensive line is pretty dog shit.
Yes, exactly, and that's where Aaron Donald's going to dominate. The Cardinals obviously have a pretty decent pass rush with Chandler Jones, obviously, so I'm fine with that as well. I believe last week against the San Francisco offensive line, they had 3 sacks and only allowed 20 points. So 6 points in total. Not awful, not great.
Yeah.
17 points and 3 sacks for the Rams. So, and they only got 4 points.
Yeah. Let's go Rams and just because they're the cheapest. We can come back if we have a couple extra.
That $200 is going to really.
Well, and if we have that little bit of cushion, we can come back and roll with the Cardinals.
Very true. So let's do tight end quick then, too.
Yeah, so I just scrolled all the way down.
So, for me, it would have to be... I will give a small shout-out to Adkins, although only because I think the Browns tight ends last week had a pretty good week. Not amazing, but decent. Dan Arnold being the lone tight end left for the Cardinals. That's a good one. And then Herndon at 3,400, Logan Thomas at 36. Going up to your boy Johnny Smith is probably as high as I'd like to go. I love Noah Fant. I have him ranked high this week.
So do I.
But he is playing the Steelers. I would rather go a little bit cheaper to a better matchup.
So you would rather go Jonnu over Fant?
I don't want to say that out loud. I won't.
So I'll put Jonnu in the lineup, is what you're saying, and not ask.
I will not allow myself to say your tight end A1 is going to be picked over mine.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I have Noah Fant ranked pretty highly this week as well. I think higher than Jonnu, but I did bring Jonnu up, so they're like back to back, I believe, in my rankings.
So, for quarterbacks we like this week, we could go Rodgers, who would be the highest. We could go Dak and pick either Gallup or CeeDee Lamb as our last receiver. We can go Matt Ryan and pick one of the two top receivers there. So we'd probably have to pivot from one of our other top ones.
Yep.
Tom Brady is a good play this week. If we really believe in Mike Evans, which I do and you do. So I will say that. Big Ben would be really nice. He's a little bit cheaper at $6,300. It might not. I think this Denver offense can put up some points on this defense. I don't think it's a lot, but I think the Steelers can put up points on this defense for sure.
Yeah.
And we could stack him with Deontay Johnson, who I love. Kyler, we'd pretty much have to stack him with either a running back or change our tight end to Dan Arnold, or change whatever receivers to Hopkins.
What about Kirk? I mean, is that too risky for you?
Kirk,
because he's probably priced fairly low because he had a really bad week one.
He's very low. It's just he did basically nothing last week. While I do think he does get more involved this week, it does. I know we want the upside pick. I get it. It just scares me.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 catch on 5 targets for 0 yards.
Yeah. It's not great. So do you want to...
Or the last one, because I love Jimmy G, but I don't know who
to stack with.
Besides getting an upshot at a guy that hasn't played, we could take Gardner.
I'm cool with that.
And go like Chark or LaVisca.
I'm 100% down with that. I mean, it's looking like Chark might be out of our range here, unless we just pivot all over the place. I mean, he's priced at $6,000, so that would give us $3,600 for our last flex.
And who does that give us?
Logan Thomas.
Yeah,
I don't want to flex the tight end.
We don't absolutely have to stack. Like I said, we can go Gardner for a cheap option and switch it up.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
Or we
could go LaVisca.
We could go LaVisca, who, while didn't have an incredible game, had a pretty decent game.
Found the end zone, right?
I mean, it's incredible for a rookie. 13.7 points. He's at 4,200 this week. So, I mean, it's not ideal at 4,200. We need him to get at least 10 points, really.
That leaves us Nyheim Hines.
You bastard.
So, it either leaves us Nyheim Hines or Mark Ingram, but we'd both take Hines. Evan Ingram, Alan Lazard.
Well, I will say we could pivot down from Jonnu slightly.
But why?
To give us. I just want to see. Okay, let's move. Let's do my guy Herndon.
Okay.
I just want to see what happens here if I do this
Marquise
one thing
Brown.
and not tell you. Not tell you what it is. So if we did do the Chark stack, it would give us Robinson, which would kind of give us a 3-player stack, which I wouldn't really love. I think he's might be game screwed out this week anyways.
Yeah.
If we did, you said Marquise Brown, which I would love.
Mm-hmm.
That would give us Jerick McKinnon or Greg Ward or LaVisca or Jonnu.
Oh boy, do I have a proposition for you.
Oh no.
Scrap the stack completely.
Okay. I've already done that.
Herndon at tight end, Gallup at wide receiver 3, Preston Williams in our flex. It's risky, especially with Gallup and Preston Williams. I don't think Gallup's very risky.
So, I will say Amari, according to DraftKings, does not have an injury destination.
Okay. So, I don't know. I'm not too shook off of Gallup. I mean, that's my guy, so I'm biased, but...
That's very true.
But Preston's yours.
Preston is mine, but...
Isn't he your start of the week this week?
Major problem there...
Oh, no, that was last week. Sorry.
With Parker questionable, he might be going up against Trey White a lot, and that, I mean, he got Gilmore a lot last week
he did.
Especially once Parker was down, and it hurt him bad.
Yes.
So it does kind of scare me.
All right, I have a new proposition for you.
Okay.
I just haven't completed it yet.
Oh, that's not good.
All right, so we go Chark.
Okay.
We go Mo Alley Cox.
No.
Okay, yeah, maybe not. We go Logan Thomas. Or no, we go Dan Arnold. And that leaves us with Benny Snell, Cam Akers, Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson is the answer there.
Yes. So that would...
I don't hate it, man. Dan Arnold is kind of nothing. He scored, I believe, like 4.1 points last week.
Yeah.
But we need him to score 8 points.
Yep.
8.25.
I think it's possible.
But he caught 2 for 2 last week, so if he catches 4 for 4,
and a touchdown, dude. Toss in a touchdown.
He is a touchdown machine.
What do you think?
Hey, if we're really on that, Hopkins is going to get a little bit less this week.
Yep.
Someone's got to get it. If you want to go, Dan Arnold, it basically comes down. Do we 100% want Chark? That's basically what it comes down to. Because we could go cheaper at Chark and go up at tight end.
We could. I mean, I like Chark this week. I think I ranked him inside my top 12. Yeah. I know people are scared off of him. Tennessee looked good, but again, I mean, that's against Drew Lock. I don't know how much different Drew Lock and Gardner Minshew are, other than Minshew's a little more accurate. Chark was kind of a non-factor last week, but that's because he was getting double and triple teamed after LaVisca popped off last week.
And Keelan Cole had a pretty good
Exactly. Game. I don't think he's going to see as many two-man looks.
So I will say, if we moved from Chark to Marvin Jones Jr., T.Y. Hilton, or Keenan Allen, or Gallup, to an extent, we could get Logan Thomas instead of Dan Arnold.
I'd be more comfortable with that. The only thing I don't like is the non-stack, because we saw that happen last week. So another guy that should have talked about in the values, Anthony Miller. So that's my start of the week. He's 5,200. He's got the third most advantageous matchup. You can go to my Twitter. I have a thread about him. He's a guy that I have in a couple of my lineups this week. I don't have him in a lot because I'm known to be wrong sometimes. Did you find the lineup?
I may have done something. So if I switch out Gardner for Big Ben, somewhat scary, I know. And we put Anthony Miller in, your boy.
Yep.
We still get to stack. We still get to put Logan Thomas in, and we still get to stack Deontay Johnson with Big Ben.
That I like. I like that a lot.
Or the only other option would be going from Logan Thomas to God, sorry. I have to find him again. Herndon at 34, and that would if we could do Herndon, Brady stacked with Evans, still have Deontay Johnson, or we could do Big Ben with Logan Thomas, and Anthony Miller still in the lineup either way.
Okay.
And it's Logan, yeah.
I mean,
so do you?
Ben scares me a lot, but so does Brady. After last week, Brady looked a little like he was seeing ghosts.
Come on.
So I think I'd rather have Ben, just for the fact that I think, like you said, the Broncos are going to be able to put up enough points to make that more. I don't think Ben's going to be his game scripted out. But Brady could. I mean, that's why I like Ronald Jones so much this week.
So, yeah. I mean, and then if we're doing him, then it basically comes down to, do you want Herndon or Logan Thomas? It doesn't really matter. If we do Herndon, we could move from the Rams to the Cardinals. If we do Logan Thomas, we're out of money.
Do you want Herndon or Thomas?
I don't quite care. I know Logan Thomas doesn't really have a scary matchup.
Isaiah Simmons.
For some reason, Isaiah Simmons shadow him. But is Isaiah Simmons going to shadow him?
No. I mean, I don't think he'll shadow anyone. He tried shadowing Kittle and got fucking dusted.
True. And then Buda Baker dusted him.
Yeah. Good God.
So, I'm fine with either one. I think either way, we're going to get... I think either way, we're getting 10 points.
Yeah. Let's just keep Logan Thomas in.
Okay. That's fine.
So
then that leaves this hypothetical lineup that is not set or locked in any way. As Big Ben, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Anthony Miller, Logan Thomas, Deontay Johnson in the Rams defense.
I like it. It doesn't, like, when you look at it and read some of the names, like Logan Thomas, Anthony Miller, Deontay Johnson, those three in a row, you don't think that that's a good lineup, but it really is. I mean, Anthony Miller, I said he has wide receiver 2 potential. He realistically could finish in the top 15. Logan Thomas is just going to get peppered with targets because they have no one else to pepper with targets. And Deontay Johnson is a guy that looked just really good after muffing that punt at the beginning of the game. I mean, Ben showed a trust in him too.
And he led the team in targets. I mean, again, Juju is going to get the best coverage.
Yep.
Now, I understand it's Denver. There's not truly a best coverage with Bouye out, but Simmons most likely is going to switch to that side kind of thing.
Yep.
So I'm perfectly fine with it.
Sweet.
Last week, even though he kind of came on late in the game, he scored 10.7 points for DraftKings. At his current price, to get 2.5 value, we need him to score 11.25. I think he outscores last week, so I think that's pretty much a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. Randy, are there any questions? Did anyone leave anything for us?
No. Just that one I sent you, and that was more of a...
notification.
A different kind of question.
So...
to which I still have to research that a little bit.
Because I mean, Galladay last week was a freebie. So who was it? Can you?
Solon Taylor.
Yeah, mentioned that Thrive might just go to your in case of emergency pick with Godwin, and maybe that was the case last week. Maybe I didn't realize that even my ice pick was okay.
Yeah, definitely, because we make all the good picks.
Exactly.
What I said is I for sure saw Galladay in my prop picks.
Green, too.
To at least start. Yeah, Green to at least start. They may have switched that midway through because they were their servers as well as DraftKings, FanDuel, ESPN Sleeper. Everyone's were kind of screwed up in the first quarter there. So maybe at halftime they did switch that. Just from a rule of contest, which is fine. I mean, that makes sense, but it's kind of more of a double check. So we'll keep an eye on that with the Godwin play this week. Obviously, Christian made an article with I think about 5 picks.
Yeah.
If you guys have any personal questions, you can see our ats on the screen, the Cut FFB, FF Ballman, or me, Randy _Hall 71. We can give opinions, no no direct
We're,
we want to win too, but we also love to help. So
yes. Yeah, I guarantee some advice that I give is going to be wrong, but I did win my first ever Thrive Fantasy contest, so maybe not. Maybe I'll never be wrong. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be wrong.
You could be wrong and still win money. Like I said, I missed 3 last week, I believe. It could have even been 4, but I still won money. And the ones I lost were like by a minuscule amount. I think like Keenan Allen needed like another half reception, and like I think like one of the quarterbacks I picked needed like, I think Breeze needed like 3 more completions.
Yeah.
Like it was all like really short. Like, oh, this just, if Brady could have thrown a little bit better game, I would have had this. Or
Yeah.
if Tyrod just didn't suck.
Yeah, he's bad, man. He's very bad.
Yeah. I will say there is just another quick pick for me for Thrive. Austin Eckler, I think his pick is like 40-something yards rushing.
46 and a half.
He had, I believe, like 93 last week. In the game, he didn't get a lot of passing work. I think he's usually guaranteed for 40 to 50 rushing yards a game kind of thing, even with heavy passing work. So if he's not going to get like a huge ceiling of passing work, he's still going to get a good amount, but that means he's going to run the ball a little bit more. And I think against that defense, which it's good in the Chiefs, but David Johnson did run all over him. Duke Johnson had a couple good runs. They both got it done through the air. So I think he's getting the 46 yards.
Yeah. It's one that I've stayed away from because I'd love to see how they deploy Josh Kelly this week first before I make any player props.
But me and you are great fans and proponents of Kelly.
Yes.
And we both know that they both could be amazing.
It's very true. Yeah. I fully expect Kelly to get a little more work this week. He was only out there for 7.
How many carries?
Carries, I don't know. He had 17 snaps. So
he had 17 total snaps.
Yeah.
Man, he used all of those, boy.
He was good, man. I
don't have the snap percentage right here, but he 12 attempts, 60 yards, 5 per carry, and a touchdown. So, I mean,
that's called earning your playing time.
Eckler's going to be out there 60+% of snaps, easy.
Yeah.
So, I think that's pretty good. Pretty good. Now, it's not like Zeke's at 87, where even though he's going to get a ton of work, you still have to question it a bit. Like Eckler, with that kind of snap share, with how much he ran the ball last week, even he's more than likely to do that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's get out of here. Once again, we'll read this not locked in lineup of Big Ben, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Anthony Miller, Logan Thomas, Deontay Johnson, Rams defense. Again, not locking it in, but play that lineup. So hopefully the stream worked the whole time. No one said that it didn't, so that's good news. Hopefully you could hear us the whole time, and if so, we'll be back next week. We're planning on doing live streams for all of our DFS episodes. Sometimes Sean might join in, but we might not let him now since we got it to work with 2 people.
Yeah, and it's available for playback at any time as well.
So, all right. Do you have anything else to add, Randy?
No, I have been periodically unmuting the the stream studio, and it seems to be going well. We've had a couple error messages pop up here and there, but it didn't seem to affect the stream really.
Good.
This is fun. I liked doing this as we always do. So hopefully we can win some money and you guys can win some money as well.
Oh yeah, we're just here to help. It's crazy. I give the most advice out of the three of us, and I lose the most. So I don't know why people are trusting me.
I will. One quick thing. Contest for the Monday night game. Raiders against Saints. I know it could be semi-scary. Play Henry Ruggs.
Absolutely.
He dominated snaps. He dominated air yards. Carr missed slightly in a couple throws that would have made his day ridiculous last week. Those are going to hit. Those kind of air yard percentages are almost inconceivable.
Yeah.
Like, he really dominated when you get down into that game. He looked good running routes. I'm just saying, I don't know what you're going to play, but maybe throw him in.
Well, I want to... It's not a counter-argument. I would play both Ruggs and Edwards. Edwards had them... I think you said Ruggs dominated snaps. That's true. But he did go out with that injury for a quarter or two, right?
Yeah, sorry.
So
yeah,
when he was like healthy and playing, he dominated the snaps. But Bryan Edwards also dominated wide receiver snaps. I'm playing Bryan Edwards in my Dynasty League this week. I don't love it, but he's going to be out there, and I think the tide is going to turn at some point from Darren Waller being the favorite short to intermediate target to Renfrow and Edwards, with Edwards being more intermediate than short, and Renfrow being more of the short, because I think those two guys do more with the ball after the catch. I think that'll start happening.
That was the other thing with Ruggs. His created yards after the catch was like top 5 in the league, as well as air yards top 5 in the league. And that's kind of like even Hill doesn't do that all the time. Like, that's...
Yeah.
And Marquise Brown was up there too with that. Like, that's... I know Hill does that, but it's not like all the time kind of thing. Obviously they won't either, but like those kind of combinations are lethal and scary. So obviously Jacobs is going to be heavy used, but we know the Raiders defense isn't good, so their offense is going to have to keep scoring with the Saints, even without Michael Thomas. So
yeah. Yeah. And as you guys know, air yards directly correlate with fantasy points. I mean,
that and red zone targets are the highest value targets.
Yep. Which is why people were sleeping on Mike Williams, man. All right, let's get out of here. We'll talk to you guys. Well, we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. On the podcast, go subscribe there. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the above. We'll talk to you guys about DFS next Saturday night. I think.
And if you guys are watching this Sunday morning, any questions you have for us, please add us on Twitter with any questions. Yep. All 3 to 4 of us, depending on who's awake and available. I know Sweet seemingly has 2 weddings a week right now, right. So we'll see how he does. But we all try and get on and answer questions and deliberate with each other as much as possible for snaps start on Sunday morning.
Fun fact, I'm running a staff meeting in the morning, Randy, so you and Sean are going to be manning that.
Oh. Okay. Also, I did join that start sit
Heck thing. Heck yeah, let's do it. So I guess I'll take this opportunity to brag before Randy beats me next week and he can brag. But I joined a Pulse Sports Facebook group. I got to it from a Facebook group, but I was in the top 10% of voters in week 1. So finished 38th out of 407. So when you guys ask me start sit questions, I do have a little bit of accuracy, you know. I'm okay at it. Again, pretty crazy. I lost the majority of my matchups last week, so apparently I need to ask myself the questions on the Pulse Sports and then vote on it, and maybe I'll do better. But Randy's definitely going to beat me next week. because Randy gives better advice. No one just asks him questions. So.
Yes, very true.
All right.
Because I don't have FF in my name. I don't have something catchy and trendy like I gave you this name.
FF Randy _ Hall 71. It's coming at you.
Oh, it's so boring.
It is.
So boring.
FF Beard Man, I'm telling you. All right. We're going to go. We'll talk to you guys next week. Again, ask us any questions. Once you view this, we'll happily answer. Play that lineup that we didn't lock in. And go win your matchups. We'll talk to you later.